Ranieri tries one!
I would say that I'm happy for the season to be over and for us to move into the transfer window, but I'm also starting to think that might be going from the frying pan into the fire. This is Not That Kind of Gooner, an Arsenal podcast, and we're coming to you on Saturday, the day of the Women's Champions League final. Looking forward to that. All the best of luck to the ladies. And the day before the men play the final game of their season at Southampton. So we're going to get into just a variety of player movement and transfers and reported contract extensions and things about that. Probably big picture view of how we feel about where we are right now in terms of competing for titles. And with me to do that is my friend Curran, who you can follow at Curran BOP. Curran, how are you doing?
Just tired, to be honest. I'm just a bit tired of the season. I'm already tired of the window. Apart from that, I'm all right. But just the whole club and the whole discourse around the club is just very tiring right now. And I'm just tired. I'm done with just trying to put a nice face on things or even do the absolute opposite. So I'm sure we'll get into it, but everything is just a bit overcooked or undercooked, if you want. There's no real sort of, like, it doesn't feel like people are being real right now. So
yeah,
let's just get into it, because there's a lot to talk about, and I'm pretty sure you're just as frustrated and fatigued as I am. So might as well just get into it.
Yeah, I tried for like 3 days to really closely follow every transfer development, and I think I cracked yesterday for reasons that we'll probably get into later. But just the whole, we're interested in this player. No, we're interested in this player. No, it's this player, and everyone reacting to every single little thing that every journalist says. It's exhausting. I don't know how people are going to do it for 90 days. They'll find a way, but yeah, I'm not sure I want any part of that. But yeah, let's kind of talk about transfers and stuff real quick. Well, we'll start with
the
contract
entire show.
extensions.
Let's be real. It's going to be
Sorry.
It's going to be the most, or not, the entire show will be transfer dealings. So
exactly,
it's not going to be a quick foray into transfers, is it? So let's just get into it.
We're not dipping our toe in. We're taking the whole plunge. See, I'm still waking up right now. I forgot to mention, even, you can follow me on Twitter at Shamsdale, on Bluesky Shamsdale, Bluesky at Social, and the pod. You should follow the pod at Not That Gooner on Twitter, Not That Gooner.Bsky at Social on Bluesky, at Not That Gooner on Instagram, at Not That Gooner on TikTok. We have a TikTok account now. You should do that. And at Not That Gooner on YouTube if you want to go and subscribe there. So let's start with kind of the internal decisions that we're making with the squad in terms of contract extensions. And it's, the noise coming out seems to be that the decision we have taken with Leandro Trossard and Thomas Partey is to extend both of them, or at the very least extend Partey and offer Trossard like a pay bump or something. The point is, they're both going to be here next season if the reporting on that is to be believed. And I just want to start by kind of getting your take on that. Like, are these two players that we need to move on from? Is there one of them you think that we need to move on from? Are they both just excellent players and it's not their fault that we didn't win a title this season?
No, it's no one's fault that we didn't win the title. But for me, if we're looking at next season, we're looking at what the plan is for next season, what we've failed to do this season, why we haven't got over the line this season, even why we didn't get over the line last season. In key moments, we do not have players that step up in key positions. If you look at last season, the Villa game, Trossard didn't step up when he had nearly a 0.9 xG chance in the first half to really put that game in our favor. if you look at Partey, look at the performances over both legs and against PSG, ridiculously getting suspended for the first leg for no reason in the first leg, and then the second leg, both goals he's involved in for PSG, both goals. And for me, it's very simple. I understand why. I understand the footballing reasons why we're keeping both of them. Look, the club clearly wants to move with concentrating their resources into very high end players. You're looking at the likes of maybe if they don't get Champions League, maybe an Isak. I'm sure we'll get into that. If you're looking at Benjamin Sesko, a Victor Gyokeres, a um, whoever you want, maybe even a Julian Alvarez for all I know, Rodrigo, these kind of players, like high end players. And the plan is, look, we want to put the majority of our resources into our striker and another winger, which is absolutely fine. But the fact is that Partey has been here for years. This is his full contract. We haven't extended him. He's been here for 5 years. If it is 5 years, I'm pretty sure it's 5 years. If
Yeah, I
it's not
think it's 5.
years, um, and he's not been a player that just on a pure footballing level. Let's forget all the other stuff. Just on a pure footballing level, in key moments, I can reel them off. The 4-1 at Man City got completely dominated by KDB and Haaland. You look at I've already mentioned the PSG game. There have been run-ins where he's missed key moments when we've needed him and we've struggled to compete without him. There've been I can name campaign after campaign where him being missing has directly led to us having a downturn in form. And that just goes to show that when he's on it, very good player. But the fact is he's unavailable and is very prone in big games to not stepping up or just letting people go. And this is why I'm not so deep on the Zubimendi deal, because hopefully, if he does stay, it means that he will be a bench option, a rotation option, someone that will not be as important, because we have made this guy so important in our squad and how we've built a squad that he is now in his 30s. He is now a player that doesn't have the ability to run in and out of possession both sides of the ball. But what I mean by that is in possession, he overhits passes. He tries to increase the tempo at times when it doesn't need to be increased. And he has this ability just to miss passes when they're quite simple passes. Either he'll just kick them out of touch or he'll just miss them. And for sure, he has great qualities in possession as well. He's able to break lines. He's able to avoid the press. He's very press resistant. He's able to do these things, and that's absolutely fine. But out of possession, if we're talking just out of possession now, there have been times where he got caught on the ball and he can't track back. He drops too deep into the back line, like the game at Chelsea away from home this season, where he's dropped too deep. He's lost his man, and Pedro Neto can score in that area. So there is very simple reasons why that this guy cannot be a crucial member of our team. And forget the fact that all the off the field stuff, which we cannot speak about, it has all allegedly happened. I'm talking purely from a footballing perspective. This guy cannot be a key piece, and he is going to be at least a rotation option next year. And I'm so thankful that we finally moved on in terms of having him as a focal point in our team. I don't want to see him. If it was up to me, I would have extended Jorginho. It would have made more sense. But I understand that he wants to be in Brazil. He's never played in Brazil. He wants to play in Brazil after he has a Brazilian heritage. I'm pretty sure that goes back. So I understand that he wants to go. But the fact is we've built this squad so now that we have to extend Partey. And I haven't even mentioned Trossard. Trossard is another one where you're thinking, okay, so if you want to buy a left winger, then you're going to have to realize that we have two left wingers. We have a forward, a striker, and another striker that has major injuries in Gabriel Jesus. We have Bukayo and we have Ethan, right? So now Sterling is going back. We have a spot for one forward. And because Jesus is injured, we should, in theory, have the ability to buy 2 forwards. However, because of Jesus's wages, it means that we'll have to. We don't know if that second attacker is coming in or not. The fact that we are extending Trossard makes no sense to me. If you want to get the second striker in or second forward in, that will basically take us to be a more sustainable team going forward, then you have to let one of you can't just extend Trossard and Martinelli. If you want, if this means that Martinelli has to go, then for me that's a mistake because he actually provides the outlet that we need. We have very few runners in that front line, and we need more runners. Whereas Trossard is more of a ball to feed, can play in midfield, can play at false nine, can play at left wing. It doesn't have the same. He doesn't have the same just ability to stretch teams that Marcelli does. So for me, and this isn't a thing against him because again, as I just said, he's very good at in possession work. He's very good. He's a good ball striker. He's able to pop up, but clutch moments, Villa, the PSG game, the first leg where he missed that chance.
Yeah.
There's times when he has had the ability to stand up and he just hasn't. And that's not a slight on him because he's clearly a good player. But I think that if you're going to extend anyone, it should be Martinelli because he has shown that he has the ability to step up in a title race. Trossard hasn't. And I think that with the age gap as well, surely you'd want the player that suits your system better, and that is Martinelli.
Yeah, with Trossard, I'm in full agreement because we were talking about this on the previous episode. Martinelli, for all his flaws, at least offers you like a baseline level of breakaway speed on the counter at the very least, right? And then
At very least,
and when he's on form, I think he's a really good forward, especially when you allow Martinelli to get into those more central spaces. I think out wide, I do worry about maybe he's gotten a little predictable, but I think Martinelli is a player who you can still use, who isn't redundant compared to our other options. And with Trossard, I feel he is a little redundant because, like you said, now you have 2 left wingers, and it's already been well established. We have to bring in another left winger, like a top end talent there. So are you gonna tell Martinelli or Trossard that they're third string next season? How's that gonna go for them?
I mean, even if Trossard is third string, if you say like I'll give you an example how Liverpool use Diogo Jota. Like he's able to come in certain matches. He has Luis Diaz ahead of him. He's not a striker that is not really in the striker rotation, but he can come in and just wreak havoc on tired legs because he's good in the air and he has the ability to finish. He's very good. If you want to keep Trossard for that role, like as the seventh attacker, you know what I mean? That I can agree with, but my thing is very simple. I want to improve the quality of this attack, and if you're going to turn around to me on September 1st, whenever I can't remember if it's September 1st or is it August something. I don't remember when the window ends. If I hear on September 1st that we don't need another winger because we have Trossard, we've extended Trossard, it's just not good enough. It's not.
No.
You have to buy 2 forwards, and I don't care if that is going to step on people's toes or whatever, but the fact is we have operated in this market for 5 years now under this manager, and we have spent, I think, the 60th amount, or something like that, in the top 5 leagues on our attack. I mean, I'm more than willing to critique Mikel's flaws because he has plenty, but the fact is, when you do not invest in the forward areas, you are not going to win titles. It's just not the case. And this whole narrative that it's just Mikel loves defenders and goalkeepers. Well, if you gave him a defense that he could actually work with at the beginning and not bloody Mustafi and Louise and all this shit that you've given him, then we wouldn't be here. If we had Saliba and Gabriel from the very start, do you really think we'd be spending however much on defenders for how many years? It's the fact is that Saliba was an Emery purchase that had to develop in France, which is perfectly fine. And Gabriel was his first signing, his first big signing. I mean, obviously he had Cedric and Pablo Mario, all that
stars.
in that. in the Jan window. But the main thing is that was his first big signing because he knew. And we're still having to replace the likes of Tomiyasu. We're still having to replace Tierney. We're still having to replace maybe Zinchenko because it hasn't really, as good as our defense is, it's not something that where you can go, okay, 4 players, that's the starting 4. I mean, I think only now, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Miles, that is a starting back 4 that you can put in for 20, 25 Premier League games, 28 Premier League games if you want, and be perfectly happy with. I think that's the first time in I don't know how long that you can be happy with that back line.
And behind them, you do have White and Calafiori and Kivior, who
Yeah.
also can come in and do a job. Like that's 7
But
defenders
we
who
don't
are
even
very
know if Kivior's
reliable.
staying. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like if Kivior leaves, we're going to have to buy another defender, as much as it hurts people to say. And remember, there's also guys like Tomiyasu, who's meant to be that right-sided defender that can play right centre back, that can play right back. He hasn't been able to play football, so it's unfortunate, but we have to live in reality. And the reality is that we're going to need another right-footed defender this window. It's not something that is a debate because we've played Saliba literally every minute of a Premier League season, and then last season without Gabriel for the run-in, and he's actually had a hamstring injury himself. And these players can't just keep going. They can't just keep just dying on their sword until they get injured. We saw what happened with Gabriel. Do you really think that we would have been able to, with Gabriel in that team, do you not think we would have been able to at least make a better chance of things in both in the champs or the Prem? Like, that's a massive injury. So you need to be able to have players that can come in, and Kivior did, but it took him a while because he hasn't played left centre back for us in how long? So it is what it is, man.
Yeah. And then with Partey, you talked about how he's barely made it onto the pitch in 5 years with us. And then the season he was
I
on
mean,
the
that's a
pitch,
bit harsh. I think barely made it in important moments. I think it's the
an
best way to
important,
put
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, he
Because he
was
has played 20 games, I think, for us, or 25, I think, in one season.
yeah. I mean,
So
I think when you look at all his matches, he's been available like a little over roughly half the time.
yeah,
Which still isn't great, but
no,
this season when he was around the whole season, I mean, we just watched all these mistakes and critical moments. Like you talked about the both legs against PSG, right? And then you also mentioned Chelsea, where he decided to mark a patch of grass instead of step out and stop the Neto shot. And then I think about the him
Man
marking
City,
Watkins. Yeah, in City.
City.
Yeah.
Like I can just name games off the top of my head where I can tell you he's collapsed on the ball. There was no need for him to collapse that side. There was already a defender going 1-on-1. He leaves this massive space for Grealish, I think it was, and then Grealish shoots, rebound, Stones. So I just think that this, I don't know what I can say that I can be like, okay, if you can you give me a justifiable reason apart from squad building that makes it a viable option? The only thing I can say is they want to get a proper second DM next year. That's the only thing I can think of because he's not going to play much with Zubimendi around, and they just want someone just to fill in case of Mendy happens, and then the next window, the priority will be a younger defensive midfielder. That's the only thing I can think of for me personally, because I think that the concentration of funds is going to the front line and maybe a defender and a goalkeeper. I think you're spending about 50 to 60 million on the latter two, and then maybe 150, maybe even 170 on the top two. So that's the only thing I can think of for me. Like that's the only reason why, because it doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah. I do tend to think, at least with Partey, that probably is the reason where you're not
It has
trying.
to be.
Yeah, like you're trying to revamp the attack in a big way, and there's a couple additional pieces that you have to bring in, like you said, like the backup goalkeeper, like the right side defender, and this all is going to cost a lot of money, and you don't want to throw in the cost of going and getting a second defensive midfielder on top of that. But with Trossard, I just fail to see how it's anything other than like maybe just having a higher opinion of him than we have.
This is the thing
Or
with the whole Arsenal hierarchy. It's come from Mikel to everyone. They are so reluctant to let people go.
Yeah.
They're so reluctant. They cannot do it. Like they bring people in, but they refuse. Like it took everything to get the likes of an Eddie and Emil, these guys out. And I love Emil and I love Eddie, but the point is they had come to a point where they had to move on, and we had to make decisions. It was only when decisions were forced upon us that we actually let people go. And we're very bad at selling in terms of not just the numbers, but the timing of selling. Like this is the perfect opportunity to let Trossard go, to let Partey go, and go ahead. But the point is, because we have two defensive midfielders leaving this summer, we can't let both Partey and Jorginho go, and Jorginho wanted to go. And Partey apparently loves London, so I mean, why should I give a shit about that? But like, it is what it is. So it's something that I like to like my stomach, to like the bottom of my stomach. I do not like this. It doesn't fit with what the club I grew up with. It doesn't, and I'm just going to be honest about that. I don't like mentioning off the field stuff on podcasts. I'll do it on Twitter all the time. If you want to follow that, more than welcome. I always say alleged. I'll always say whatever. But the fact is, it's your show, and I will be respectful of that. But the fact is, it goes against me as a person to let that guy be around, and I it just doesn't fit who I am as a person. I just think that if you're going to do this, don't do this whole he's been consistent, he's been available. Don't do that. Just extend the guy and move on. Don't sugarcoat it. Stop with the sugarcoating. I don't need this whole interviews like, oh yeah, I love him, this and that. I don't do that. Just extend the guy and move on. I don't need all the fluff.
Yeah, there was a Rice interview I think that came out today where someone asked him like, "What do you like about playing next to Partey?" And he's like, "Oh, he's so calm. He just brings so much calmness to the game."
Calm. Like
He's
you,
a,
we like I'm at home whenever he is doing one of his little turns. Is panic stations. I don't know if he's going to keep it. So I don't know how he's calm if I'm not calm. Deck, you're a yapper as well. You don't need to lie to yourself. You have the same innate ability to yap like I do, like everyone does. So for me, I would be on needles. But for him, I
I
guess you
think
see something in training or just lying to yourself. I don't know. But for me, it's very simple. I don't think that he can play 20 games for us next season, and I don't think he will. So that's the only thing I'm clinging on to. And if there is anything but the biggest DM search for next season that I've ever seen, this is done. Like that's the only reason. The only reason is that you're keeping him for to help the transition to the next DM. That's the only reason.
Yeah. I will say I think Rice was actually correct when he said Partey was calm. I think Partey's a little too calm based on how he jogged back after Liverpool and
I
Newcastle
look,
the last couple of
he is calm, but he would not let me be calm. I'm watching it and I'm just like, brother, what are we doing right now?
The way he jogged back like I would at the end of a 5K when he was chasing after Liverpool's and Newcastle's attacks. Maybe be less calm, Partey.
You
But
know,
yeah,
we should. The other thing is right is there. I feel like Partey at times, and the same thing will happen with Zubimendi. By the way, it's not just Partey. The same thing will happen with Zubimendi. Is Partey will give the option of going short when you shouldn't go short.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't go short. Like there's games like Newcastle. You mentioned Newcastle. You should not be going short. They will be on you. You have to go long. You have to go over the press. Same thing happened in the Carabao semi. Like Rice was just isolated. Like the people were doing screenshots like, oh, he should have passed here, and it's just like it's not. Don't do that. There's he had two men on him, like diving in on him at one point, what's he meant to do? Is he meant to like do 3 flicks and then move it? Like, I don't give a shit what Caicedo or any Partey or anyone would do. The fact is that you have put a player in a position that they shouldn't be in, and the same thing will happen with Zubi as well. So I think that if you have the ability to go short, we shouldn't be able to. You shouldn't have to keep on relying on going short. You should be able to go over. But honestly, it's just getting to a point now where it is where it is with him, and it's something that I really cannot. I can't with him anymore. I just can't.
Yeah.
Just as I said before, if you want to extend, just do it, and we'll deal with it for another year, and then hopefully we move on.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we can do.
I'm praying it breaks down in some way and it doesn't happen. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. But let's kind of shift focus to things that we're considering externally now. And I want to start with kind of winger links that we've seen recently, in particular Rodrigo from Real Madrid.
Mhm.
And there's reports coming out that we're interested in him. I think Florian Plettenberg said yesterday
Ornstein as
that.
well.
Oh yeah. Well, did Ornstein say it?
Ornstein said that he's loved internally at Arsenal, but he's not sure about the feasibility of the deal. That's what he said.
Okay. That
but
does reflect what Playberg said as well yesterday, because he came out and said that Rodrigo wants 10 million euros a year net, which Arsenal weren't willing to do.
And before we get into all this, I'm going to be very blunt, very, very, very clear. I don't believe any of these motherfuckers at all. I believe none of them. Okay, I don't believe Ornstein. I don't believe Plettenberg. I don't believe anything. The only thing I believe is a shirt being hung up, like held up. It's the only thing I believe, because even Ornstein at times has said things and like been like, "Oh, this deal is very advanced," and it breaks down. Same with Romano. Romano's had deals where it breaks down. I will not believe any of these guys. I refuse, because they are tools of clubs. Clubs use guys like Ornstein, guys like Romano, guys like Plettenberg as tools to advance what they want out there. It's that simple. So until something actually happens, I just like people keep going on about how, we're going to show, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Do not care at all. And until something actually physically happens, like, I'm more than happy, and we're going to have this discussion about the people that we're linked to and all this. But for me, in terms of actually caring, in terms of actually having like physical thoughts about how someone will actually fit in the team, like we'll discuss the fits and how these things. But for me to actually physically think, okay, how I'm going to use this asset, I can't. I refuse. Like it's just a case of not getting invested until it happens. I remember you remember the whole Benzema and Di Maria saga. You remember how many sagas? Jan Mvia getting lost. Like there's so many of these sagas, and I just think that there's this tendency to overestimate the how advanced deals are, and be so invested in what the reports are, what reports, that people get themselves angry for no reason. I'm more than happy to inform you on and we're going to inform you as soon as I finish yapping about the targets, but just do not get invested in these people. These are targets, and if you look at we talked about this off stream. If you look at the targets, there's like 50 of them. There's so many like targets that are just out there. Like every winger I can think, from Gittins to bloody Nico Williams, Rodrigo, Ademola Lookman came up yesterday. Like there's so many.
And Bumo.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like, let's just discuss them, because otherwise I'm going to just get into it. I'm going to get myself into a twist, because there's no viability to anything until it happens, really.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I want to ask then is, out of those winger options that we've been linked to, without getting invested, because I do agree. I think if you play this game where the first winger we get linked to, you start seeing a future with them.
Yes.
It's kind of like what I used to do like as a kid, where I'd get a crush on someone, and then it
Yeah.
would just be like, oh, we're gonna
I
date,
think
and
the
then we're
best way
gonna
of saying it is like you get invested in the idea of something.
exactly. Yeah.
That's how I do it. But you asked about the winger options. Let's go through the pros
Sure.
and the cons of each winger option. Okay, so for me, my personal option is Nico Williams. I think that is the most easiest fit into our system that I've ever seen. There's very few guys where I've thought, okay, so you're telling me that this guy has a proven partnership from what he did in the Euros last year with a winger, a creative right winger that can help him attack the back post. Check. You've got a player that can be creative in wide areas as well as be a very aggressive one-on-one, as well as being very good at attacking one-on-ones. Perfect. You've got someone that is able to create from wide areas, that can hit the byline and cut back or cross from wide areas. Check. The main thing with Williams that is a bit, I don't know, is will his goal tally rise as he gets older? I think yes. I think if you put him in a system where he's able to crash the back post, be a bit more aggressive in how he attacks the box, I think you have a winger there because right now about Bilbao, he is their progression on the left side. He literally is dropping down to the center line, is picking the ball up, and he's running up the field, and he's trying to create from wide areas. Whereas for Spain, this guy was crashing the back post and getting goals from areas because his timing of runs was excellent. So I think that's something that we could definitely use. And I think that is the thing. The only thing is, and I understand where the people that watch him less have a bit more credence, is he needs to score more goals. And I think he can, but that is my main choice. I mean, I I don't know what to say other than that. As for the other ones, I think Rodrigo, I think obviously is, when you talk about things that we have missing in our squad,
Yeah.
a between the lines combination player on the left hand side is something that we could use in spades, because the ability he has to come inside, hit a 1-2 and create, or just uh, have the ability to hit the byline as well, come from wide, is not rapid, but it's still quite pacey, and it is on his actual preferred side. I think that is something we could use, because what a lot of people want is a wing fielder. You know, they want the winger that can also be play in midfield. And I'm surprised that people say that, but then also rubbish Rodrigo, because that is something that you can actually get from him. You could get the abilities of a 10 as well as the abilities of a left winger. You can have him come inside, he can rotate in and out. So there's definitely ways that you can really use that profile. And he could even play as Trossard does sometimes, in more of a 10 role, where you can come inside, and even, like we had the Liverpool formation with the double false nine, or the false tens, whatever you want to call it, and have the wingers wide and have him be more of an inside presence, and him and Odegaard can play off each other, or him and Havertz, or there's a lot of ways that you can use a Rodrigo. I think he's very tactically able. And as for his constraints, there's sometimes where he can be a bit weak in terms of his when he meets contact, especially when it's coming back to his back instead of actually facing it front on, because he wants to be quick and just kind of move off, and he doesn't really have the strength just to hold his frame at times.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's a very good option as well.
Yeah, I think it's with Rodrigo, he kind of strikes me as almost like a hybrid of the best qualities of Martinelli and Jesus,
Mm,
where, you know, with Jesus you had that guy who could come inside and drop deep, even, even from out wide, and kind of combine in the half spaces a little bit. But you also have, I don't think he's as fast as Martinelli is, but you still have like a pacey forward outside, like on the touch line, who prefers to go central, but can also, kind of be his man out wide. Yeah, I like the option of Rodrigo a lot, but I don't know. Is it weird to say that I think Williams might have the higher ceiling? at
No, I
Arsenal.
think that Williams has, as I said, I think Williams is the best fit for our system. And
Yeah,
the main thing I feel like with players in this era, and specifically now in 2025, is whoever gets platformed the best does the best. There's very few, like, I don't think that the level between the top and the bottom is tiny. I think there is still a level, but you look at guys like Anthony right now, who is, let's be real, a dud, but he's gone to a Real Betis side who has realized that he has no weak foot. There is no essence of a weak foot there. There's nothing there, and has platformed him to come central and hit balls inside. That's what he does. And if he
yeah,
does that at a level that is good enough to help them win games, then he will get the memes that he's been getting. So platforming players and having the ability to platform a player at the highest level is what will get you to where you want to go. And I think the best platform that we can give a player is a platform to a Nico Williams, because the pace, the back post crashing, the creation from wide, the 1v1 ability that has to take on players, it's there.
yeah,
And even though the goal output can be a bit shy, I think because he's made to do so much work tracking back in terms of not defensive out of possession work, but in terms of progression with the ball. So he is made to his starting position is so low, right? Just like even Saka's starting position is low. But the point is,
yeah,
our left winger is much more dynamic in terms of their movements from out to in, higher up the pitch. That we're very low touch on the left hand side. So if you're going to have a winger that is able to attack the back post and crash that area, as well as when there is an ability just to have to try and break down a more trickier block, the ability to have that option to say, okay, not only are we going to be able to have him crash, but if we want to switch it wide to him, he'll take on a man and try and cross it. So that's the best option for me, and I think that's a very viable option. As well as if you're talking about a release clause of 50 million, I think it's a no-brainer, despite the wages. Like
yeah,
you negotiate wages if you can fit it in a you can fit the players we have fit on our wage. But I'm sure we can fit another. I don't think it's a massive issue, and I think that is the best option for me.
yeah. I especially because with our left winger, it feels like a lot of the time you basically isolate them out wide 1v1 against their right back.
Hmm, hmm.
And Martinelli has struggled with that. I don't think Nico Williams struggles with that,
No, I mean,
right?
if you the numbers alone, like I'll put them up now. Like there's something like he's in like the 95th percentile uh
Like take-ons completed.
of take-ons, right? Like I'll pull it up in a sec, but he's in a ridiculous he has this ridiculous ability just to keep going at players, and in that way, that's what we need. You mentioned it. In specific situations on the left hand side, you'll have the ability to I apologize. You'll need the ability to have someone that can just take on a player and get a cut back in. So, yeah, for me, it's that simple. Like
Yeah,
he's in the 99th percentile, 8.5 take-ons attempted, and he's the 98th percentile for successful take-ons.
yeah.
So I don't know what what we're talking about here. We're talking about a winger that is at the top of Europe.
Especially
Of
with the way that
take-ons.
we play, right? Like,
Mm,
I could imagine a situation, and maybe I'll use this to transition to the striker conversation, but I can
mhm,
imagine a situation where you have Nico Williams at left wing, right? You just hand him the ball, and then you put Saka at the back post, and you could do Havertz and Sheshko, you could do Havertz and Marino, you could do some combination of that, but that's kind of what tends to make me think we're definitely going to try to sign an attacker who can head the ball. Um, but you get two guys and Saka to crash the box,
mhm.
and then you just have Nico get the ball in there somehow.
That
Um,
can work too. But my thing is very simple. That is and I mentioned on your Twitter yesterday. There's a lack of chance creation mechanisms that we have. We have two major ones. We have right half space cross from Sakura Erdegaard to the left back post, or we have left winger hits byline, cuts back. Those are the two main open play dynamics that we use. And we try, sometimes we do Rice underlap and pulls the defender deeper, and the left winger can cut in. That's the third. But that's not been used that much this season. It's been more the former two. If you're going to have the ability to go both ways in terms of having crosses from both sides of the pitch, it means that the players can't just hit, like their defense doesn't have to hit one post. They have to be wary of both posts. So if you say you have Erdegaard pick up in the right half space, they can't, the block can't just go, okay, one player attack him, the rest go to the back post. You'd have to have the ability to actually defend both sides. And if this is a perfect way to transition to striker, you'd have to have someone that's able to strike from outside the box.
Yeah,
you have to. Like, we have it with Partey at times. I mean, when he doesn't put it in whatever row you want to say. I don't know. Well,
Z or Z,
have to
depending
have
on what side of the
more
Atlantic.
methods of actually attacking the box.
Well, also, I mean, Rice can do it. I guess Winery is becoming an option in that regard. Odegaard has fallen off a cliff in that regard. You know, there's people who can do it, but there's no one who does it consistently, I think, outside of Rice.
I mean, I think for me personally, and I don't want to go off into a massive Odegaard conversation. We'll let the Twitter guys do that, because that's all Twitter is these days. But for me, I don't think he recovered from his injury. I just don't. And I think that this break, we've seen it slightly come back a little bit in the last couple of games where he's been trying to shoot a bit more. But he has no room to hide anymore. There's nothing left, because with Mendy coming, it takes out all that side of the pitch is gone for him now. He has to be the guy in the block, in build-up, receiving, turning, distributing. He has to be the guy up the pitch, controlling our final third build-up, creating chances, not these scoot passes that go to nowhere. You can't keep doing that, Martin. That's not going to do anything. You need to shoot more. You need to be able to drift, not just stay in one zone. You need to be able to drift left as well. You need to be able to drift right, stay central if you can. You need to get back on doing what you do best in terms of getting back on to cutbacks. There's definitely a lot of ways we can get the best out of Erdegaard, and he has nowhere to hide anymore. There's nowhere to hide. You can't go and build up anymore. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
It's not Partey trying to lose the ball on purpose in the first third anymore. It's just not a thing anymore. We have the best, if not one of the best in Europe at orchestrating build-up. You can't do that anymore. So
and then probably tucking in next to him, you have, I think, one of the best, central, or you have one of the best carriers of the football.
Yes.
I think
there's just no way. There's nowhere to go. And the reason why it's so, like, I understand that you're probably going to talk about Verts at some point, and everyone's talking about that. But for me personally, if you're talking about me personally, I don't really care especially about Verts. And it's not because I don't like Verts, because if you look on my Twitter, you search Verts, you'll see me many times saying, oh, we should have got this guy, but we have the best platform for a 10 in the world right now. I think personally, if you have if you are a 10, you have build-up specialist, carrying specialist. Out of possession, we have the ability to get the ball to you, because we'll turn over possession and get you the ball. You have the ability, the freedom to go wherever you want, create wherever you want. We have the best crop of young central attacking midfielders that we've ever had, in terms of Winery, Dowman's coming through. These two are very, very young, and you can't put too much pressure on them. But the point is, they're very good. And for me, and it's similar to the Partey situation, Martin, not very similar, but it is slightly similar. Martin has to step up where he's going to get stepped on.
Yeah.
It's that simple for me. If this season happens again, it's over, mate. It really is. And and this is coming from someone that isn't a massive Erdegaardism guy. I don't give a shit about any of the terms. Just do well and you'll be fine. And the reason why I said this is a good connection to the striker conversation is because I think with the correct striker, I think the ability that he has to control a build up and have the pitch spaced out a bit better for him, I think it will platform him a bit better, and he will be. Remember, he is a 2-time player of the season for us in 2 title races. Like he's not a scrub.
Yeah.
Like he is someone that he's our captain. So this is his best platform. And if he cannot do it this next season, it's going to be wraps because Ethan is coming and then Max is behind him. So yeah, this is a good way to get into the striker.
Yeah, I think I think you're absolutely right in terms of this is probably going to be a season in which Odegaard might be platformed the best he's ever been at
Yes.
Arsenal because you have Zubamendi. I think it's safe to say we've wrapped that up. So you have Zubamendi coming in, you have Lewis Skelly tucking in next to him. That's your build up taken care of, right? And then you have Rice, who's probably going to be more of a box crasher, getting into those areas to kind of commit the final action. And then you have Odegaard kind of free to roam a little bit more, drift to each side to combine. And I think we're going to get him a striker who will make those runs in front of him that I think he's kind of more adept at dealing with, as opposed to I feel like at times he's really had to kind of try to invent something with center forwards like Marino and even Havertz to an extent. I think Havertz still worked pretty well with Odegaard at times, but
yeah, I mean they have a very good. I feel like in terms of their actual connection on the pitch, they're quite in sync.
yeah,
So like I point back to that Liverpool game, the 3-1.
Yeah.
They were both together in a strike partnership. I think they played very well together. So it's not about just tossing aside. I think that we have a very good crop of attacking midfielders. It's just a question of can we platform them correctly, and I think we can. So the emphasis has to be on the wingers and the strikers. That's where the emphasis has to be.
yeah. Speaking of strikers, current moment of truth: Sesko or Gyokeres?
Oh my god, I don't care. I don't care. Okay, like both of them. Sesko, fine. You want to answer Sesko? I just
love asking you these questions.
I can't. I'm done with it. I feel like people need to go outside at some point. There is a lovely summer's breeze weather right now. My blinds are down because I don't want the glare. Go outside. There is no need to debate this because one, we don't even know if these are the first choice strikers. We don't even know that because we are clear. The club is clearly waiting for Sunday.
Yep.
If Sunday goes the way the club wants, it'll be neither. It'll be Isak. And you can say, oh, it's never going to happen. That's what the club's view is right now. They've said every step of the way that Isak is our top target. And if they don't get Champions League, they will go for it. Even if they do, I expect they will try.
Yep.
So, like, this is why I'm so exasperated by this because they're like, oh, but all the reports are saying that Berta likes Gyokeres, but Arteta likes Sesko. Like, why are you investing in this bullshit? Are either of them coming? Do you know which one is coming? No, but the reports. Fuck the reports. Who gives a shit about the reports? The reports are for people. You're doing exactly what the reports are meant to do. You're discussing the reports. You're not discussing anything about the players. And if you want to discuss the players, they both have great strengths and great weaknesses. Both of them. And it's very simple. Both of them have weapons that we can use in this team. So let's take Sesko, for example. Sesko, his ball striking, brilliant. His ability to hold up and link play, very good. There are times when he doesn't realize his size. Like how the best way to put it is he has this ability to not realize that he is 6'5" and not take advantage of that. so he can be a bit weak in under contact at times. That's not good, especially for an Arteta forward. Like that will need to be coached. Like we've seen it coached with Kai. Kai is now, we've seen how Kai is. So that will need to be coached. And it is very coachable, but it will have to be coached. It won't be just immediate. And there will be times where you think, oh, wait a sec, he's you're big, use your size. With Gyokeres, there is this fundamental misunderstanding of what a transition from Liga NOS to the Premier League is. And it's not that it's some sort of crazy leap that is never going to happen, that he's never going to do it. But the fact of the matter is, you will not get the ability that players that he has but players step off him. Players do not step off you in the Premier League. Players step off him. And I want everyone, if they have a chance, there's a lot of content. Just go on, if Twitter ever works again, or if this bloody app decides it's down again, by the way. If this app ever decides to work again, then go on Twitter, and there is a comp of Gyokeres versus PSV, and his ability that he cannot create the separation, doesn't use his body in the correct way. He doesn't get past his man well enough. It's not good. That's not good. He's a very good finisher. And he is very good in terms of the ability inside the box to find a bit of space and get a shot off. He's very good at getting shots off, and he's very good at finding the corners. So as I said, they both have strengths. They both have weaknesses. You should not give a shit. You're not until one of them becomes a viable option, not bloody Plettenberg, who is. We remember the bloody Rysard, Guten Morgen. Like, who gives a crap about these guys? These are not guys that you should be giving a shit about. Just go outside. Summer is around the corner, right? Book holidays, do things, right? Experience life. Life is there. Go live it. There's no need for everyday Sesko versus Gyokeres. Okay, you're not going to find an answer, because if you do actually go and do the times, watch 10-15 games of both, you'll realize that they both have flaws and they both can work.
Yeah,
that's the answer.
Yeah.
That's very simple.
That's what the summer is for, by the way. People are going to use this to wind themselves up, and then they're going to enter the season even more frustrated, or kind of just, bracing for disappointment. Then
we're all going to stay up for the preseason games. I'm going to stay up for preseason. I'm going to do the 1 week Apple TV membership and get on for the MLS All-Star game if they're doing it. Or I don't think we're doing an Asia tour this year, actually. Yeah. So whatever subscription service I have to sign up for a week, I'll sign up for that and watch the games. But the point is that right now we still have a game left.
Yeah,
like we still actually have a game left, and until that game happens, all of these reports mean nothing. We could go for Julian Alvarez if you believe that. Anything can happen. Literally anything can happen, because until the standings are secure, we're not going to know if we can go for Isak or not. And if we can go for Isak,
we will.
The club will go for Isak. They will try, because that is their clear number one target. They've said it for the reports that you all swear by. All of the reports say that Isak is the number one target, so they will go for him. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind, or I think in anyone's minds, that they will at least make a shot for him. So all this Sesko Gyokeres stuff makes no sense to me. And then someone said to me, "What do you think about Ekatike?" Ekatike is not like he's decent, and if you want the next Isak, then go for Ekatike. But the point is that all of these are just very theoretical, and if you're honest with yourself, if you're watching this and you're honest with yourself, you don't want to do the work to answer the question that you bring up every day. If you want to do the work and come back to me with an answer, I'll listen, because I've done the work. I watched this Champions League every game of both these guys. I watched them every game, both of them, this season, because I knew this debate would come up. And people don't do the work, so why would I respect what you have to say? Because you have no idea what you're talking about. No.
Yeah. That I think you do put a good point where people are just. I feel like people are attaching themselves to players over a couple clips on Twitter. right? And
Mhm.
like that's just their guy forever.
Yeah, of course. No, it's deeper than that. That is one for sure. That's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
The other one is people have decided what they think there is right, just in their head. Like they have either it's one just a feeling, or two, they think this is the guy that's actually going to sign, and they want to be right ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Those are the two. Those are the two variables. Obviously, there's the minority that do the work. Like if you asked me in October or November when the games were happening, I would have told you, look, watch the PSV game for Gyokeres, watch Sesko for last year's Champions League, because they're not doing that well this year. They had a couple of good games this year, but mostly it was last year that it was much more conducive with him and Openda, and him with Simmons. They have a good relationship. They have a bit more understanding. This season they've not had a good season at all, and it's not worked for them. And they're not in Europe. So I think that if you're going to critique them, actually watch them. Don't just go off, as you said, a couple of clips on Twitter, or just whatever you think is going to happen. I think that people just have this idea of who's more viable. Because they're more viable to sign, that's the side they're going to choose.
Yeah. Yeah. And like if Everton beat Newcastle on Sunday,
Mhm.
and then City win their game, Villa win their game, Chelsea and Forest draw, this conversation probably doesn't matter.
If Chelsea and
You know?
Forest draw, does that mean that Chelsea still get through?
Yeah, because I think Newcastle and Chelsea are both on 66 points.
Yes.
So a draw would be enough to at least see Chelsea, leapfrog.
But what if Forest win?
I don't know. Let me look up the
I'm trying to think now, because
standings.
I would have thought that as long as aren't Newcastle and Nottingham Forest on 60, 65 or 64?
Okay, so what I've got here. Okay, so take us and Liverpool out, obviously. City are on 68.
Mm.
Newcastle have 66. Chelsea have 66. Villa have 66. Forest have 65.
Yeah.
So a draw wouldn't help Forest, especially because they're 9 behind Newcastle in goal difference.
Mm.
But if Chelsea and Villa were to at least not lose their games, and Newcastle were to lose to Everton, I think that'd be enough for Newcastle to finish 6th.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. So basically, the main thing is Chelsea. I think Chelsea and Villa have to better Newcastle's result.
Yeah.
If Newcastle draw, Chelsea and Villa have to win.
Yeah.
And if Newcastle draw, Forest can if Newcastle draw and Forest and Villa win, then they still get 6th.
Yeah. There's a few ways for this to go
There's a
south.
few ways, yeah. It's so tight, man. It's so tight. From I think City have done it. There's no way.
I think
There's
City
no
should be
way
fine.
that everyone. I don't think that that's a possibility, because it's a 2-point gap. But I think from 4th to 7th is completely up in there. There's 1 point in it, which is insane.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm saying, like, if you ask me again, like the first time you asked, I'm just like, I just don't care, because the fact is, it's not that's not the primary target. It's just the fact.
Yeah,
He's just not
they're both
neither
backup
of them are the
options.
primary target. As
Yeah.
much as Florian Plettenberg or Ornstein or whoever wants to try and convince you otherwise, it's just not the case. So until Sunday is finished, we'll reevaluate that on Sunday. I think the main reason why all the left winger briefs are happening, because that is probably the more there's more ability to do work on those deals, because those deals aren't dependent on Sunday, whereas the striker is very dependent on Sunday. If even if Forest and Villa win and Newcastle don't, if Newcastle do not win, there is a very, very good shot, because what have they got? Actually, if they draw, if they draw the 67 points, then yeah, even if they draw, there's a good chance.
Well, yeah, I mean Chelsea and Villa could still win and overtake them.
I think it all depends on Villa's, to be honest. If Villa beat United, then there's a very good chance. But it's all in Moyes' hands. So,
I mean, I think United are done emotionally. I think Villa are gonna
die. Honestly, if I couldn't hate them anymore, the fact they just let Spurs win a trophy it's unforgivable. Like, you can see, I've got my screen open right now. I'm on BBC Sport, and I can't see either United or Spurs. Like, I have to scroll. There they are. United, 39 points. Tottenham, 37, 38 points. And Tottenham are going into the Champions League. They're going to be in pot 3. You know that, right?
They're in pot 3.
Mm.
Oh,
it's not the same. Like, remember the Europa League goes into pot 1, and no, they're in pot 3. So, it's going to be pretty peak for them because they're going to have to play 2 pot 1s and 2 pot 2s.
I don't think it's going to go well for them, to be quite honest. Like, I think
it would
pot
depend
1
a lot on
games.
their fitness. If they actually buy a squad, if they actually buy players that can actually come in for a Van der Ven because he's going to get injured, if they can come in for a Basuma or someone, because right now it's just that 11, and that 11, you saw how bad that 11 was against United, even without Kulusevski, Madison, and Bergvall. Even though you add one of them in, add in a Kulusevski, add in a Bergvall or a Madison, it was just shite. It was actually terrible. That game was. I don't know if you've seen that Drewski meme where he's like playing with the construction workers. It was like like that. It was so bad to watch. Like,
even the winning goal was just the
terrible. Like I understand why they're having a parade, but I'm not proud of that. I can't be proud of that. Like, there's no way that you can. Like, I've not seen many Spurs fans because I don't really know many. I know a lot of United fans who are just in bits, but I don't know a lot of Spurs fans. I think that's by
they're all over
choice.
here.
But and a lot of them would come out of the woodwork. Like, you're seeing Spurs tops in the streets all of a sudden, apparently. So, where you been, lads? It's been a bit of a tumultuous time.
I was getting dinner a couple weeks ago with a buddy of mine and both our wives, and I knocked a glass over from the table, and a guy the next table over said "classic Arsenal fan" because I was wearing an Arsenal jacket, and I just looked at him. I was like, I'm sorry. Do you support a team? And he was like, yeah, Spurs. And I was just like, okay, have a good one.
I don't know. I don't know where the chat has been. They have tried, but it is what it is, man. Like, if they can enjoy a pot 3 whooping, because that's what they're gonna get. They're not gonna get an easy ride of it. They're gonna be playing like Bayern and like Madrid, maybe, or whoever. They're gonna be playing some. They're gonna be playing some teams.
If they get like Madrid and PSG or Barcelona,
yeah, Inter. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be tough. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't bring myself to care that much about Spurs. Even
It's not even caring. It's just like I'm just upset that well, I'm not even upset, to be honest. Like, I'm upset that they won a trophy, obviously, but I'm not upset because the way that these United fans have to now deal with the reckoning that they have caused, years of, oh, we'll bring Sancho in for 72 million, we'll bring in Ronaldo and pay him this, we'll bring in Pogba and treat him like shit for 10 years. We're gonna do all this shit. We're gonna pay all these wages. We're gonna bring in Maguire for 80 million. We're gonna bring in De Ligt, and we're gonna bring in Mazraoui and Onana and this and that. It goes on, and the amount of wages they paid, the amount of shit they brought through, the amount of times they've had to pay compensation to sack managers.
Yeah.
Like the guy's out. The guy, like I don't even have any ill will towards Amarin because he's clearly been shagged here. Like he's very clearly that there is no way that he could have come in and done anything. Like they should have. Like I was saying on Twitter, they should have let Ten Hag get to the end of the season because Ten Hag could have at least put together a cup run. He's very good at cup runs. Like that final does not happen under Ten Hag. He wins that final.
Yeah.
So, what have you done with Amarin? Amarin could have seen out his time, and he's still 17th or 16th. Where is he? 16th, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 16th. Do you
West
think Ten
Ham
Hag would have had them
15th.
16th?
Ten Hag probably would have had them 8 or
12th
yeah,
or 8th,
yeah.
somewhere in that region. It wouldn't have been 16th because we're putting everything into the Europa League. It's just like okay, but it is what it is. But hey, 1 million aid in heaven.
Yeah.
That's all good. You can
The chickens are coming home to roost for United, and I mean they're gonna have to lean into austerity. They're gonna have to try to get rid of players. I don't know how they're gonna be able to sell or even terminate contracts. To be quite
The
honest,
thing is, Amram's not going to get rid of Bruno. They're all like, "Oh, we'll sell Bruno to Saudi for 120 million," and it's just like, well, that may be viable, but your manager loves Bruno, so it's not happening. Like if you're going to sell people like Maguire or, funnily enough, it'll be Kobe or Garnacho, like the guys that they think that is like the Carrington United way. So it is what it is.
yeah. Last thing here before we get out of here, and this is probably kind of a good little subject to wrap things up on. So you mentioned it earlier in the pod. Liverpool look like they're going to seal the deal with Florian Wirtz. Yeah. And that's I think that's a big deal because we're talking about one of the best players in the world. They're adding superstar quality. The guy is choosing Liverpool over Bayern, and of course, there seems to have been some fumbling done on Bayern's side. They seem to have kind of
don't believe all that, but like, honestly, like they definitely have fumbled, but the whole Bayern space, like, oh my god, the drama, this and that. This isn't bloody a soap opera. It's just people's like I don't give a shit how they fumbled him. They did fumble him.
They fumbled
like this whole they didn't prepare. They put pressure on him. They put pressure through the media, and he didn't like that. He wanted to. No one gives a shit. You didn't get him. It's that simple.
If I had to guess what happened, it's he talked to Bayern, and then he talked to Liverpool, and he liked what Liverpool had to say more.
Yeah.
And that's really about it. There's no need to dramatize it.
And this is why I'm confident on Arsenal, by the way. Because if there is a club that will put together a good presentation of why to come to Arsenal or come to their club, it is Arsenal. Like I think that we have a manager that is able to display tactics. Like he's like the one thing that Bayern Space guy said that company didn't really provide him a presentation that gives him a clear identity of what the tactical setup would be with Florian in it. And Slot did. Yeah. And that was why he chose them. And if that is true, then I am very confident for our window. Because there's one thing that we have is a manager that can put together a tactical plan and present it to players. He is very good at that.
Yeah.
He had Calafiori have picture of his family and put what they mean to him on them. That was the first call. Like that, there is no club on earth that I think can come up with nonsense like that, like we have with him. And he is able to explain to them, like we've seen time and time again, every player that has come through this club, while Mikel Arteta has been there, has said, we know what's going to happen on the pitch before it happens. We know we've been told what's been happening. We are told where to execute and how to execute. Everything is given to us. So if that's the case, then I have very confident in actually being able to get the guys in that we can get in. Yeah. But our entire window depends on Sunday. Let's be real. Our entire window depends on Sunday.
Yeah.
If they do not get Champions League football, we will be there, like Monday, trying to get him out of there. Like it's that simple. If they get Champions League football, we'll still try. but I don't think it'll happen. Other thing, before we go, last thing I'll say is Newcastle have been very active in the striker market, in the winger market. They're the Burma situation. They're in for Liam Delap. They were at Sesko and Gyokeres' door before. If you want to bring up the terrible twins again, they're both everywhere. Both of them, they're just at every club. They were in for Vlahovic. There's plenty of signs that they are looking at attacking reinforcements, and whether that's just because Callum Wilson's going, or whether it's because we might have to sell Isak, or he might go. I don't know. And if anyone tells you they do know, they're lying.
Yeah.
Either way, like every tweet I make is, if it can happen, we will go for Isak. I don't think it will, but I think we are going to try and go for it. So any of these reports, this is why I'm saying stop believing all these reports about Gyokeres and Sesko. None of them make sense until Isak is confirmed.
Yeah.
If he's going to play Champions League, then none of this makes. Then go do the debate. We'll have a whole pod on it. Gyokeres versus Sesko. Everything you want to know about Gyokeres and everything you want to know about Sesko. And yeah, that's it really.
Yeah, I just with the Verts thing, I think I don't really subscribe to this belief that one player makes a team invincible or something. But the Verts thing does piss me off because I think Arsenal treated this season in a way as a year during which they could tread water. And, we spent last summer chasing after 2 targets for all intents and purposes, and we didn't sign them. We didn't have backup plans. We ended up bringing in, Marino and Sterling on loan. And, Marino, I think, has obviously been quite a help to us this season.
Yeah.
But the Sterling signing was a fucking catastrophe, right? And it hamstrung us in the January window because you can't, with Neto and Sterling on your bench on loan, you can't go out and get Rashford. You can't go out and get a Marco Asensio or something like that and bring in a player who can actually come make a difference for you. And so I feel like we just looked at the season. We're like, we'll be back next season.
We'll figure it
out.
out.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
My thing is very simple. Is the board... Let's go back to 2024. Let's go back. Bayern happens. We go out. Next day. X Factor.
Yep.
We're going to brief that we're going to bring in X Factor. When we do, bring in Marino, Calafiori, Sterling, Neto. That's the window.
Yep.
Right? I don't think that's X Factor, mate. I don't know what the whole point was. I think they tried to get Sesko in. He didn't want to go, and I don't know what happened there. Maybe we could have got him, maybe we couldn't have. If you really wanted to go for a player that gives you some X factor, there were definitely options available, and we can go through all of them, but I don't have the patience right now.
Yeah.
Then we get to January, and it's clear that we're struggling with injuries, and we're putting a lot of pressure on Kai. A lot, because there's no Saka, and he's struggling. You remember the United FA Cup game? He's struggling.
He couldn't walk at the end of games.
He couldn't walk. The Wolves game, he was tumbling, like he was on the floor, exhausted. Okay, so it was clear. It was a clear need, and I understand the whole Sterling loan situation, but if you are telling me that £50 million, which we could have recovered if we'd made the Champions League final. From Champions League semi-final to Champions League final, there is a £50 million gap. For 15 million, you did not want to take the risk on Ollie Watkins. I have nothing to say to you. There's nothing you can tell me that's been like, we're gonna do it in the summer. Brother, we have a situation now where we can win a double. We can win a double, and we can win the best double, a Champions League and a Premier League double. I don't care what you say to me. That is definitely on the cards, because Liverpool were folding at times. They're not going to reach 90 points. And you're telling me we can't get to at least 85 points? We fumbled so many games in this period where we could have made another 10 points up. So many draws we could have turned into wins.
Can you imagine where we would be even if we just signed Watkins? Not to mention, if maybe we'd brought in Rashford on loan or something else, right? That
But
that
I'm not
was
even talking about Rashford. Forget Rashford.
yeah.
Just purely Watkins.
Yeah.
Watkins alone. If you tell me that Watkins alone doesn't take the load off Kai, it doesn't. It means that we can make Trossard into more of a versatile attacking option where he can come in for a 9 at a left wing wherever. He's not having to be the de facto 9 at points or the de facto left wing. Because remember, Martinelli got injured as well.
Yep.
Like, everyone got injured.
Yep.
And we had no one.
We
Marino
played a
could have
center
been that second
midfielder.
striker version
Yeah.
that we could have used. And yes, he's done great at 9. But the fact is that if you don't roll the dice ever, you're not going to win. How are you? At least tell you. At least this is the perfect way to put it, right? If you try and you fail, failure is better than inaction. Failure, I can take. Inaction, you've not even failed. At least reach the point of failure.
If we had paid the 60 million for Watkins and we had still finished second, we had still gone out in the Champions League semifinal or the final, right? I can live with that. I can sit back and say it wasn't our year. We went
tried
for it.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. But for us to be offered, Villa came to us and said, "Do you want the third best striker in the Premier League for 60 million pounds?" And we took a third of the month to get back to them, and then we bid 2/3 of what they asked for. Right? That's not serious. That's not serious behavior.
And we didn't even come out back for a second bid.
No. We just said, oh, they're not going to take 40. Okay. And then we went on to flog some really key players. We rushed Saka back from injury. We lost probably our second most important player for the second half of the season, right? I think Kai fixes so many problems for us on the pitch, right? If you want to put him at third or fourth or something, that's fine. Yeah. But like, we lost a critical player because we saw him struggling physically and decided to keep making him play full 90s. And now, the reason I'm so pissed is we're entering a period where City are going to go drop $250 million on their team this summer. And that's optimistic. So I think they could crack 300 easy, right? And they're going to go sign some of the best talent they can find. Liverpool have just signed probably a future Ballon d'Or candidate, right? And we're sitting here without, like, if we'd won the Premier League, if we'd won the Champions League, I can at least sit back a little bit and be like, okay, well, we had our moment of glory. Let's see if we can add to it, obviously. But if things don't work out for us because we're competing against Liverpool and City at full power, I can live with it a little bit, right? And now
it's worse than that. It's worse because the fact is, like, everything you've said is perfectly accurate, but it's worse than that because the fact is that we're extending, as we go back to the beginning of the pod.
Yeah,
we're extending Partey, we're extending Trossard. This is what we're competing with £250 million with. We're taking a Trossard to a Reinders fight. We're taking Partey to a Rodri fight. You know what I mean? We're not taking. I don't know. There's Twitter's back now. Hooray! Thank you, Elon, your benevolent savior. Like thank you for giving us the actual version of the
not
Twitter
my
with the
benevolent
timeline.
savior.
It's just like even now, there's like Berta's like talking to Liao. Like, what is that going to do? Like, is that going to be that would be a great signing? Yeah, but is that going to be a signing that goes? Will it happen? Will it not? Will it? I don't care if it's Santi FM. I know he's a good source, but I don't know. It just feels like all these talks and all this stuff. It doesn't make any sense before the window opens. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it just feels like they're just spattering everything around.
Yeah.
Will you actually do anything? Do something. Then we'll believe. Because before, the last 2 winners, you've done fuck all.
That's the thing. I really want to be optimistic about this window, and part of me still is, but the last year or so of evidence that we have here is just soul crushing, and to see the teams around us, to see Liverpool moving to establish a dynasty while we're going to struggle to find the quote unquote right nine to bring us forward is it dampens my outlook a lot. And if Newcastle make the Champions League, they're going to hold on to Isak as hard as they can. They're going to add more talent to that. We might be talking about a fourth team in the mix here.
No, I mean, look, with Newcastle, I'm not willing to put them there yet, because we saw how we dealt with Europe last time. We
Yeah.
saw how it happened last time, and as well as I know they're going to add. I know they're going to be a bit more wiser about how things happen, but it's the same with us. Like, until you prove that you are willing to move in the right direction, I'm not willing to give this Arsenal regime any credit, or put Newcastle in a title or even competing with us phase. Like, they're not ready. They keep saying like they're going to be. Like, they're still playing Dan Burn at left back at times. Like, it's not.
Yeah,
You
that's fair.
can't be doing that. We don't know if they're going to keep on to guys like Isak, guys like Livramento, guys like all sorts. Bruno G, is he going to stay? Like, we don't know these things. So I'm not willing to put Newcastle there yet, as well as they are doing, and I'm very happy for them because they are a good club. They have a good fan base. As annoying as they can be, they have a very passionate fan base. Not yet. Not for one more season at least. No.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. You're pulling me back from the abyss a little bit. But I guess I say all that to say, the thing I'm looking for from Arsenal this summer the most is two things. One, get the players. Right?
Mhm.
I don't want to hear about us walking away from deals over 10 million pounds or over 50K a week. Right? If that's what it takes, make it happen, because this is the season where you have to go out and win something. And then in addition to that, do it early. I don't want guys walking in with 2.5 weeks to go before the season starts, and it'll take them until October to be up to speed, and we're going to drop 7 points until then, or 10 points or 11 points or whatever, right? Get the guys in early. And that's why Zubimendi is a good start to me, because Zubimendi's going to walk in that door. He's going to have the whole summer to adjust to the players around him, to be coached by Mikel, to figure out how he's playing, and he'll be what's one like acclimated by the time the season starts, right? I don't want fucking Nico Williams or Isak or Rodrigo or whoever walking in that door July 18th.
No.
That's not acceptable to me. Those guys have to be in there end of June at the latest.
They should at least participate in the tour. Like, they don't have to be there at the beginning. They should be at least there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And for me, those 2 points, perfectly well put. Perfectly put. I don't think that's the main two things. For me, on top of that, because those are, again, perfectly put. For me, the main thing is very simple. Just don't make sure that you are not settling. Do not settle. That is the main thing for me. No more Lautaro Martinez to Zinchenko. No more. No more of this nonsense. If you have a top target, go and get the top target. No more of this sort of like umming and ahhing and missing out on targets. No more. You have one shot this year.
Yeah.
Because after this year, we do not know where people are. Because say we extend Saka, we extend Saliba, that's great. Another year with nothing to show for it, for the likes of a Declan Rice, even the previous two, Gabriel. It's not acceptable. These players deserve to be should be acknowledged for the players that they are. This team deserves legends. This team deserves to be made into legends.
Yeah.
These teams do not deserve to go out like this. And it's not acceptable. I do not want to see Gabriel put in the same lengths, the same things as a Koscielny. I don't want that for him. I don't want that for him. It's not good enough.
They're too good.
They're too good. And it's unfair to them, because and we mentioned it before, 60th in the top 5 leagues of investment in the front line. It's not acceptable.
Less than
And
Leeds.
less than Leeds.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that there was a defense to rebuild. I completely understand that. But now, do your damn job. Get the attackers in. Do not let us go without actually doing the correct stuff. And I don't want any striker. I want a good striker that will give us at least 15 to 17 Premier League goals this season. Minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum. I'm not talking 25, 30. That would be great. But minimum 15 to 17 Premier League goals. You give me that. You give me a striker that can do that. You give me a left winger that can chip in with 10 league goals. And we're there. We're so there. We're this close.
Yeah.
And we cannot be Brendan Rodgers. We cannot be one of those teams. We can't. You've got to refuse that.
Yeah.
We can't be a nilly team. We can't have that for this group. This group does not deserve that. It deserves to win. And the only way it will win is if there's proper investment in the right areas. It's all that's all it needs. And if it is Isak, that would be absolutely amazing. If it's one of the Terror twins, even better. Not even better, but like good enough. Like it's that simple. Just get someone of good quality that will give you 10, because we're not that far away. We're just not. Just invest in the right areas and we are there. But do it.
Honestly, this might be a crazy thing to say, but spend 150 million pounds on Isak if you have to, even if Newcastle makes
100%.
Champions League. Yeah.
Look, you spent what 100 mil last window. You have the ability to spend 300 million this window. You have the ability to do it because last year we didn't have PSR problems. This year we definitely don't have PSR problems. You're
Not to
letting go
mention-
of Jorginho. You're letting go of probably a Zinchenko. We're definitely obviously Tierney. We're getting rid of when obviously we weren't paying majority of Sterling's wages, but he's off the wage bill as well. Whatever we were paying. But there are players that are leaving, and you have the ability to concentrate your funds, pay the premium fees for the premium wages. People are saying you can't pay 350,000 a week for Rodrigo. Why? Do we not have the ability?
I saw
Do we not have the
that.
ability? Do we not have the ability to do that? Do you really think that's out of question for us? Chelsea are paying 400,000 to players, aren't they? City are paying 400,000 for players. Are we that far behind?
Aren't Liverpool paying Van Dijk like 500 or 600 a week or something?
I just don't know. I don't know anymore. I
Like
don't know anymore. Like
we can do it.
we can 100% do it. It's because you've been told because this fan base is still stuck in the stadium debt era. We have no stadium debt. There is no debt. We're not Man United. There's no debt. We have amortized fees from the past. We have wages to pay, but our commercial revenue is gone through the roof. We've earned over 100 million, maybe even I can't remember the numbers. It's like 150 million or something in the Champions League. We have the prize money from finishing second 3 times in a row. We can 100% spend massive wages, and if you're saying you can't, you're wrong. You're just wrong. And if you want those wages to go to a Saka and a Saliba, I 100% get it. That's a better argument. But don't say we can't do it. Because we 100% can.
Yeah.
People are saying, oh, but we're paying Kai and Odegaard and these lot so much. Why do you think we can pay them so much? Because we have the ability to do it. And we have the ability to add more to it. We're nowhere near PSR. We're nowhere near. It's because Arsenal is now, even Josh has said this, we're the model citizen club. We have to do things the right way. You're not going to win doing the right way. You have to at least take some risks. Yeah. And without risks, you're not going to win. You have to. So you said 150 on Isak. I will 100% agree with you. Do it. Pay them 30 million for 5 years. Amortize it.
Yeah.
Right? 30 million for 5 years, or maybe front end it a bit more. Say 60 million and then the rest spread over 4 years, or however you want to do it. Because we did, if I remember correctly, we did deck was 33.3 for 3, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's correct. But if they want a bit more front-ended because they need to spend this year or they want it for PSR purposes, pay them 60 or 70 this year and then just amortize the rest.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that. It's not hard. It is doable. It's just that will we do it? Or will we be able to let it actually happen? So
that's the question.
That's the question.
We had this little slogan in the last couple Champions League games that we played called make it happen.
Make it
Hashtag
happen.
make it happen. Time for the board.
Yep.
To make it happen. It's your turn now. So
And the one thing I'll finish on is don't get too invested this summer until we're not even close to like even the open of the window. The window opens June 1st. It's 24th today. It's still a week left.
Yeah.
Start getting so invested in things that are clearly not going to happen because it's clear that we're not going to be doing everything that you're told. Like the Liao reports today. Like, do you think we're getting Liao? Do you think we're even going to get a Liao bid, or even reports that we're in discussions for a Liao bid? Like, just stop.
I haven't even seen those reports.
Yeah, it's that Santi JM, whatever FM, whatever his name is. Santi Auna, I think his name is. But yeah, the point is just there's so much time, and you have no idea because if the board have no idea what they're doing, how are you going to have any idea what they're doing? They have no idea whether ESAC's available or not. So how are you going to know anything? Keep your foot on the necks. Make sure that you keep making sure that they are aware that how upset we are. I'm upset. I think pretty sure Sham's upset. Everyone's upset at how this season's gone. But do not let that be your reason d'etre. That's not. Just demand that we do the best. That's all we can do. And that's it.
Yeah. Get out there, show
the
that
sun
you
is
want
shining.
to win. Yeah. Oh yeah, well first for the board, get out there and show that you want to win. But for everyone else, for everyone listening, the sun's shining over here too. I'm about to go out and play some tennis, enjoy the breeze. Looking forward to a vacation in a couple weeks, going to spend the summer with family. Just, do things that make you happy, because if you spend your time working yourself up over every little report and you're running through worst case scenarios in your head, you're going to drive yourself up a wall. And, at the end of the day, football is meant to be enjoyed.
Yep.
So we'll leave it there. Curran, as always, thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Thank you for listening to my ramblings.
I always enjoy it.
It's always lovely to talk to you, but I know that I can get a bit. I can go long. It's what, an hour and a half. Good God.
Worth it.
It's always lovely to speak to you, and I hope everyone does take something from this, even if it does come off a bit smarmy at times. I know it's going to be a tough listen because at times we will it's clear that there's too much to do and there's too much to discuss and there's a lot of anger. So give it a bit of give us a bit of space, and I think everyone needs a bit of space right now. And just enjoy yourselves, and I hope everyone is feeling okay, doing okay, and living okay. So that's all I have to say, really.
Yeah. And if you gotta listen to this in two parts, feel free. You can follow Curran on Twitter at CurranBOP. You can follow me on Twitter at Shamsdale. You can follow me on Bluesky at shamsdale.bscott@social. You can follow the pod on Twitter at NotThatGooner, on Bluesky at NotThatGooner.bscott@social. Subscribe on YouTube at Not That Kind of Gooner. Follow us on Instagram at Not That Kind of Gooner, on TikTok at Not That Kind of Gooner. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please do leave a 5-star review. It really does help out with getting the pod out there in front of more people. And we really appreciate that. So we will be back with you on Monday night to talk about whatever happens this weekend, and probably to look ahead a little bit more, talk about any recent news that there is to talk about. So we'll be back with you after Arsenal brutalize Southampton, and then
hopefully after the women win the Champions League as well.
Also, yeah, I might not even play tennis today. I might just hang out for an hour and then watch that. Um, so yeah, we'll also probably be talking about whatever happens in the Champions League final later today. So until then, take care and bye. Bye.